Today's another day to find you shying away. I'll be coming for your love, okay? Take on me. Take on me. Take me on. Take on me. I'll be gone in a day or two. To say I'm odds and ends, but I'll be stumbling away, slowly learning that life is okay. Say after me, it's no better to be safe than sorry. And take on me, take on me, take. Oh, the things that you say. Oh, is it life or just to play my worries away? You're all the things I got to remember. You're shying away. I'll be coming for you anyway. Take on me. Take on me. Take. Take on me, take on me, take me on, take on me. I'll be gone in a day or two.
Good morning, and welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Hamilton. My name is Karen Charlotte Kumar, and I'm this morning's service leader. I really want to thank today's service team, which includes our musicians, Rachel Derry, Cindy Carey, and also Marianne Forbes and George Zavarese. Thank you all so much. I'd like to also thank Tim Versteeg for his work doing the children's story, and our intrepid tech team, including Tim, John Elliott, and Bruce McPherson. We couldn't do this without you. We are not the first people on this land, nor will we be the last. We acknowledge our connection to the web of all existence, honoring the past and preparing for the future. The stewardship of the original people who lived here preserved this place for our generation. We seek to be respectful stewards of this place for those who follow. We welcome you today, whatever the circumstances of your life, in the many ways we identify as people, and in the diversity of how we love and live. In this house of faith, we are all included as we search for truth, build community, and strive to make the world a better place for all. Our chalice represents the light of hope at the center of our faith tradition. The spark of this flame draws us into our time of worship and community. And Jamie's going to light our chalice, and I will also. Please join me in reciting our unison chalice lighting words. May this flame be our light of friendship and love. And now I'd like Jamie to share some opening words.
Good morning. My name is Jamie Boyce, and I have the great privilege of serving this congregation as its interim minister. With the world around us swirling with the good news of the new year, why not take time to reflect on our relationships? We might be asking, as we circle through these questions of reflection, who in our circle of care and concern do we need to connect with? Who might need a loving apology or a renewal of our commitment, of our love and care? And how can Unitarian Universalism help us, support us, as we renew our relationships and agreements with each other? This morning, we will explore the role of covenant as a place of renewal, as a source of connection, and is a place of possibility for building the beloved community. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your journey of faith or search for meaning, you are welcome here. Let us open our hearts and minds as we gather to celebrate this glorious day.
Our opening hymn is Wake Now My Senses, hymn number 298. The words will appear on your screen.
Number 298, Wake Now My Senses. Wake now my senses and hear the earth call. Feel the deep power of being in awe. Keep with the web of creation your vow. Giving, receiving as love
Our story this morning is The Sharing Circle. It is published by the Medicine Wheel Education Publishing Company, which is a Victoria-based Indigenous publishing company, and written by Teresa Corky Larson Jonasson, who is a proud Cree-Danish Métis elder with roots in Red Deer. She lives her life according to the traditional Indigenous teachings that saved her life, and these teachings flow from her parents, her 93-year-old Kukum, Christine Joseph of Cochrane, aunties, uncles, as well as the good strikers Williams and John Cryer families, all of whom she loves immensely. Morning Star and River were two funny foxes who were the best of friends. They lived with the skunks, rabbits, deer, badger, and buffalo on the Great Plains, where the grasslands stretched out for miles under a never-ending sky. Every day, Morning Star, River, and their friends played together in the grass. They hunted for bugs, swam in the creek, and lay on their backs looking for shapes in the clouds. When the sun began to set, they all raced home to their cozy beds. One day, when the animals splashed in the creek, River gave Morning Star a playful shove. Morning Star lost her footing and fell. She was so angry that she growled at River. They had a terrible fight and told each other, "I don't want to be your friend anymore," and crept back to their homes with hurt feelings. The next day, the two foxes refused to talk to each other. It made everyone sad to see their friends fighting, and without their funny playmates, none of the other animals wanted to play. Everyone gossiped about the argument and began to pick sides. When one of the older buffaloes heard about it, she knew that something must be done. She took a braid of sweetgrass as a gift to the great horned owl called Kokum. The wise and mighty Kokum always knew how to solve problems. She listened as the kind buffalo told her the story. "It is time we held a sharing circle," she said. So the buffalo and the owl went down to the creek, and all the animals gathered together to make one big circle. "Many things we need for a good life are like a circle," said Kokum the owl. "Water is one of them. What can you tell me about the water cycle?" "There is water in the lakes and big oceans," said a smart young badger, "which evaporates and turns into clouds. The clouds make rain, and the rain shares itself with people, animals, and trees. It travels into streams and creeks and makes its way back into the lakes and big oceans." "Well done," said Kokum. "We need that circle of water to live. It is a sacred circle. When something happens that may harm our community, we come together and form our own sacred circle. We call it a sharing circle." "Why don't you tell everyone why we're here today?" Kokum asked the buffalo woman. "Morning Star and River have been arguing, and everyone has hurt feelings," said the buffalo. "Today we're going to share those feelings and talk about what happened." The owl nodded. "That's right. Everyone has a place in the circle, and everyone should feel safe and respected in it. You can share by talking about your feelings, offering suggestions, or talking about how you can help, but you don't have to speak unless you want to." The animals passed a talking stick to their left in the direction the sun travels. The foxes, the skunk, the rabbits, the deer, the badger, and the buffalo took it in turns to hold the stick and speak. Some of them talked about their feelings, and some of them didn't, but they all felt a part of the sharing circle. "I wanted to help, but Morning Star told me to leave her alone," said a young skunk named Smokey. "I tried to say sorry, but River wouldn't listen to me," said Morning Star. "He called me bad names," said River, with tears in his eyes. One of the rabbits started whispering to her friend, who stretched her front legs and looked around her as if she wanted to leave the circle. Kokum saw this and spread out a large wing to get their attention. "My girls," said Kokum, "you can share your feelings when you hold the talking stick, but now you must sit still and listen. A sharing circle is a place of listening and respect. We need to be quiet until it's our turn and we are holding the stick. This time helps us listen, understand, and often see things in a different way." The animals passed this talking stick around the circle a few more times, and even the quiet deer who were shy in the beginning became brave when they saw how safe it was to share their feelings. The more the animals talked, the more they came to understand that the argument was all a big misunderstanding. "We should have listened to each other and respected one another," said River. Morningstar agreed. The two foxes were very happy to be friends again, and so were the other animals. "You see, young ones, ever since we have lived in this land, ever since the water has flowed, we have always respected each other," said Kokum. "Every animal has a duty to care for another, and everyone has a job to do or a gift to share." "Will we ever have a sharing circle again?" asked Smokey, the skunk. "Of course," Kokum told her. "Sharing circles can be used in many ways. The teachings of the circle have been practiced for a long time, and if we continue to respect the teachings, they always will." The animals all thanked Kokum and the gentle old buffalo woman for bringing them all together. Then they ran down to the creek to swim and play together beneath the enormous sky. And that's the end of our story this morning.
Thank you, Tim. We're now going to be singing hymn number 121, "We'll Build a Land."
121, We'll Build a Land. We'll build a land where we bind up the broken. We'll build a land where the captives go free, where the oil of gladness dissolves all mourning. Oh, we'll build a promised land that can be. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land where we bring the good tidings to all the afflicted and all those who mourn, and we'll give them gardens instead of ashes. Oh, we'll build a land where peace is born. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land, building up ancient cities, raising up devastations from old, restoring ruins of generations. Oh, we'll build a land of people so bold. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an
is our time for meditation, contemplation, or prayer. In these moments of contemplation, I invite you to relax, close your eyes, and take some deep breaths. Following our reading, there will be a few moments of silence, followed by music. Our reading for today is called O Deep Mystery of Our Lives by Sheldon Bennett. O deep mystery of our lives, voice in our hearts and light in our minds. In the joyful freedom of our fellowship, we are here together as adventurers called forth in spirit, all of us moving, yearning, questing, pushing the limits of our lives outwards to what is more loving and just, more beautiful and true. We are people of spirit. We are struck in awe before the great mystery of the cosmos. We are powerfully moved by a deep concern for our world and our care for one another. The Spirit moves also in us as a free religious community joined in a common covenant of aspiration, commitment, and hope. May ours be a faith that is more than just beautiful words and high ideals. May ours be a faith of vitality and commitment, a faith that burns in our hearts and blazes in our minds. May ours be a faith that shines to the world as the light of deeds and the witness of actions. O source and spirit of our lives, may we respond boldly to your call to adventure, for justice, for love, and for joy. Amen.
May I share love through action and receive love with grace. May I taste the sweetness in every breath and rejoice in the dance each day. May I share love through action and receive love with grace. May I taste the sweetness of every breath and rejoice in the dance each day. May I share love through action and receive love with grace. May I taste the sweetness of every breath and rejoice in the dance each day. May I share love through action and receive love with grace. May I taste the sweetness in every breath and rejoice in the dance each day. May I share love through action and receive love with grace. May I taste the sweetness in every breath and rejoice in the dance each day.
remember the first time I had broken the trust of my parents. I was a teenager and I had made one of those reckless teenage decisions while my parents were away visiting family out of state. While I was old enough to stay home alone, I was not mature enough to understand the gravity and consequences of breaking trust and violating the clear boundaries my parents had established. As you might guess, I had a few friends over that weekend for a teenage party that my parents soon found out about upon their return. Their disappointment and anger led to a week-long negotiation of consequences for my actions and many hours of tearful conversation about breaking trust and confidence in our relationship. It was necessary at that time to confront and repair our family covenant. Needless to say, I spent a few months in a state of being grounded, rebuilding my relationship with my parents. In some ways, it was a relief to return to their care and the comfort and stability of family as I learned to take responsibility for my actions. Apologies, I learned, are about naming wrongdoing with words, and then it is about actions that show a respect for our promises and commitments. I didn't have the words for it then, but my family and I had a covenant of relationship. Over time, we had made commitments to each other and our shared lives. While family life provides many opportunities to learn about promises and trust, this lesson hit home in my young years as I learned about the process of building strong, resilient, grace-filled, and loving relationships, and discovered the commitment that it takes to stay present to those we care for, even when it's really hard, even when we've made a major mistake. It's easy to take for granted how important the spoken and unspoken agreements and covenants we hold really are, how much structure they bring to our lives each day, and how accountability helps us grow more and be better. One of the things that I love most about Unitarian Universalist communities is our attention to the habits and promises of relationship. As an individual and collective spiritual practice, we do this. We do this in the form of a covenant, which gives definition to our shared commitments and responsibilities to each other. It acts as a container for our relationship, a container that lives inside a larger container of our principles and sources of faith. For example, we name the interdependence as a guiding principle and aspiration, and the very act of creating covenant is how we embody that principle by demonstrating and naming and coming into an agreement about how we will be together. Our covenants help us live our values and support us when we miss the mark, which is inevitable as our beautiful human selves that are wonderfully imperfect. We will make mistakes. And our covenants are there to support us with our humanity. And ideally, they invite us to live into our aspirations of how we are together as we build a new way into the future. Lisa Ward sums it up crisply and gives context to the Unitarian Universalist practice. She writes, "A covenant is not the definition of a relationship. It is the framework for our relating. A covenant leaves room for change and for more change. It is humble toward evolution. It claims, I will abide with you in this common endeavor, be present as best I can in our becoming. This calls for a level of trust, courage, and sacrifice that needs to be nurtured, renewed, and affirmed on a regular basis." And as Unitarian Universalists, especially those who inhabit and benefit from the privileges of white supremacy and settler culture, we have work to do. We need to consistently return to covenant with our new lenses and learnings, our new understandings, and bring into greater clarity how we will be together. This year, we voted to covenant and affirm individual and communal action that will accountably dismantles racism and systemic barriers to full inclusion in ourselves and our institutions. We now have the opportunity to seed, plant, and center covenantal work as anti-racism and anti-oppression work that reimagines and opens our communities as inclusive. It is one of the ways that we can actively transform our spaces and our movement. Widening the circle of concern points to the necessity of this as connected to governance and polity in our movement. Our polity and covenantal agreements enable us to come together in ways that honor the sacredness of our gathered communities. They speak to who we are and how we are to be when we are together. Congregational Politics says that each of us as individuals makes up the shared body that is our community of faith. Each of us is an equal and needed partner in our living tradition. Each of us is responsible and accountable for the future of our faith. And this is it, isn't it? Our covenant to community and each other holds the sacredness of our gathered communities and invites us into accountability in our relationships. When we do the good work of building community, there must be attentiveness to difference of experience and the sharing of faith. Our covenants must embody and reflect this truth. They must also allow for the reality of missteps, such as when we ask that we address the impact of our mistakes on people and not simply take refuge in our good intentions. Our covenants, no matter how local, are locations to center justice and equity in our relations and redistribute power. As we continue to reflect on the new year, it seems like a good time to consider the relationships in our lives and discern the well-being of our covenants, spoken and unspoken, and notice if there are relationships in our lives that could use our attention. Is there someone who needs our care? Is there an apology we owe or have procrastinated on sharing as an act of righting our relationship? Are there covenants, agreements, or vows that we can celebrate, renew, or reevaluate? While so much energy of the new year is directed at our individual selves and the habits of personal well-being and betterment, how about we turn some of that energy towards the betterment of our collective lives together? Are we making enough time to recommit ourselves to liberation, justice, love, and grace? Our theme this month, as you might have guessed, is covenant. In the weeks ahead, we will revisit these questions during Sunday services and in small groups during the course of the month. We will reflect on covenant as a practice that impacts our personal lives and then consider more broadly what our covenant with our community is and how we are living into it with our aspirations and actions. Let's use the energy of the new year to support us in recommitting to building a new way of being in the world, one that is radically inclusive, liberational for all people and the earth. May it be so, and blessed be.
Number 86, Blessed Spirit of my life.
Blessed Spirit of my life, give me strength through stress and strife. Help me live with dignity. Let me know serenity. Fill me with the
Go, beloveds, into the world, caring well for each other. In the days and weeks ahead, may you be inspired towards acts of love, grace, and hope in your connections and covenants. May we continue to discover, to grow, to learn as we widen the circle of care for each other and our community and our natural world. Let the light of love shine brightly. We extinguish our chalice, but not the fire in our hearts until we meet again.
It's the hardest thing to give away. Last thing on your mind today always goes to those who don't deserve. It's the opposite of how you feel when the pain they cause is just too real. It takes everything you have to say the word forgiveness. Forgiveness. It flies in the face of all your pride, moves away the mad inside, always anger's own worst enemy. Even when the jury and the judge say you got a right to hold a grudge, it's a whisper in your ear saying set it free. Forgiveness. 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 Help me now to do the impossible. Forgiveness. Forgiveness. Help me now to do the impossible. Forgiveness. Clears the bitterness away, can even set a prisoner free. There is no end to what its power can do. So let it go and be amazed by what you see through eyes of grace. The prisoner that it really frees is you. Forgiveness. 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 Show me how to reach the unreachable. Help me now to do the impossible. Forgiveness. Show me how to love the unlovable. Show me how to reach the unreachable. Help me now to do